Well, welcome back everybody then to the Haas playthrough in the fire mod in Motorsport Manager. And a pretty good result last time out. Some good points on the board means that we've now closed the gap to Renault and McLaren. And that 7th place we're aiming for is very much a possibility now. So I'm hoping that Leclerc can get up to speed quickly. It wasn't that bad a debut for the Monocle's driver. Now, I was going to look up the spelling of that, or the phonetic spelling that you guys put in the comments, but today, of all days, I'm having a change of internet service provider. It's not come back up yet, so I couldn't check it just before I recorded this episode. So, also, this episode will either be up on Wednesday, or it will be up Thursday, depending on when we get the internet back on. But let's shimmy on with today's episode, shall we? I've been trying, now that the computer systems are back up and running, to get back to, well, try and achieve something I've never achieved really consistently since I started the channel. We're going to swap Fritz out for Goldwave. And that is purely to try and get to the stage that I'm doing daily uploads on this channel. Summer Skill is burnt out. That's interesting. So why is she burnt out considering her stamina is so high? I guess that's just a random event maybe. Or maybe she literally caught fire. Because that is something in the game now. I'm not sure. It's one of the two. I shouldn't be laughing about that. It's horrific if that is the case. She's actually physically burnt out from a fire. That's nothing really to joke about, is it? Right, let's change out Macaro for Tapinez. And we haven't really got anyone to swap Ayala out for them. But that should do. That should do. Our pit stops have generally been pretty good. I'll just take a look at who the new people are to hire. Nobody brilliant there. I'm going to try and remember each episode to start rejecting these people, so hopefully we get a new bunch of people each time. I forgot to actually look into how we do get better staff. There's a possibility that it was one of the factory, the HQ buildings. Is it scouting facilities? Again, I remember somebody told me in the comments, or some people had a couple of ideas of how it's done. But once again, I can't check the comments because I haven't got internet at the moment, so that's not really helpful. Staff centre. I would guess it's probably the staff centre, but we're not going to spend any money on HQ right now, so that's not really a problem. In terms of scouting reports, have we got a couple back yet? I don't think so. Were there any mistakes last time? No, there weren't. Yeah, Lando Norris. 2 stars, obviously a good scope to be improved. He's fairly marketable as well, and he's got average stats across the board. I say I really do want to get an American in as our reserve driver, and then hopefully we can find an American to put in this team one day. Find the next American talent. Most likely to be Ferrucci, but we'll see. But let's crack on then. So, reliability looking pretty good across the board. Still need to get that gearbox up a little bit, so hopefully we can use it next time. I might switch a couple more points towards reliability just to ensure that we do get that gearbox ready for next time. We'll switch the rear wings. And everything else looks good. Still some performance to gain from the engine and from those rear wings, so we will stay on those for now. So yeah, I'm hoping Leclerc can get into the points as well. That's what we really need if we want to be beating McLaren and Renault by the end of the season, is for both drivers to get a couple of races in the points. Or one big result, I suppose, but preferably I'd like them both in the points. Any chance on some new suspension? No, K-Mac, I'm afraid not. Scouting report done on Menendez, who is a young American then. So 3 stars, 21 years of age. Currently driving in WEC, I think, signature. Yeah, I think that's LMP2. And very marketable. This guy looks pretty good. He's quite expensive though for a reserve driver. He looks up to the standards of being a race driver. So I think we'll favourite him and definitely keep him in mind. I didn't think he was going to be that good, but that's why we've while we've scouted these young Americans, hopefully Carnaro and Tavetta will be pretty good as well. And we'll have a good sort of stable of American talent to draw upon. But let's get cracking, shall we? We're at Singapore next, which should be an interesting race. A lot that can happen there in real life, whether it will in the game, I'm not sure. So that gearbox is now finished then. And that will be the last part we make this season. So we need to try and get that ready as soon as possible. So let's take one of these brakes on and put it on the gearbox. Let's take reliability off everything else and just try and get those two gearboxes ready as quickly as we can. So maybe we'll put the split back to 10-10 and hopefully we can have them ready within the next couple of races. And we're ready to go then. I think. One more message. Preview. Don't care. Right, K-Mag and Clerk in the car, of course. Again, sponsors, doesn't matter. We'll go 663 as per usual. And hopefully we can use one of the gearboxes now, which will be good. Oh, we already risked it last time, didn't we? I forgot about that. Okay, so we'll keep that on Magnussen's car because I think he's got the best chance of getting points at the moment. And then we can use the other good gearbox when it's ready, hopefully next time out. Right, as per usual then, I shall... Oh, we've got 3 tyres remaining. Oh, we've got 6 there. There we go. As usual then, I'll get practice underway and be back with you shortly for qualifying. Okay, we're into qualifying then. Practice went as smoothly as it ever did. 97% set up on both cars. We got level 3 on race trim and soft tyres and super soft, and qualifying we got level 2. So all in all, a very good session. And some good times on the board as well. They were 6th and 8th fastest on some pretty worn tyres. So I'm fairly confident we can be pretty competitive here. Now, I want to see both cars getting into the top 10, hopefully. And the other main thing is I want to see that gap between Leclerc and Magnussen closing up a little bit. Because Leclerc, although he's a rookie and a very young driver, and technically his F1 debut, if you go by his skill points alone, he's every bit as good as Magnussen. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how they do in comparison around here. On a very different track to last time. So Leclerc's actually a 10th quicker at the moment then, 1.6 seconds off the pace, 1.7 seconds off the pace for Magnussen. So looking pretty good. We are a little bit off the pace of where we would expect to be though. Massa, Stroll and Alonso just ahead of us, so hopefully they can find some improvement next time round. Leclerc not looking on form by the look of it, and Magnussen not looking particularly brilliant, but we'll see what they can do second time round. 16th and 17th at the moment then. 16th and 18th. You see, you never know with this game. Practice went perfectly. I was feeling pretty confident. And this is looking like, at the moment at least, our worst qualifying position for a long time. You just never know, do you, really, with this game? But then I guess you never do with motorsport as well. Singapore, very different track, even though this is... Of all the tracks that copy the real world tracks, obviously they can't use the real names, but a lot of the tracks have very similar characteristics. This is probably the least like the track it's trying to be in Singapore. It's a lot shorter, and really not as twisty and windy as the actual track. Especially this long sort of phallus-shaped section over here. Definitely not very Singapore-esque. But let's send them out for a second run. Maybe they just had bad laps, and hopefully they can improve next time around them. And we've put them out into a whole bunch of traffic. But hopefully they can pick their way through it. To be fair, Leclerc's got a little bit of a gap ahead of him. Magnussen seems to be in some free air anyway, so although Leclerc's just been overtaken there. But let's see how they do then. Hopefully they can get a better warm-up this time, if that might have been the issue. But I would expect to see a big improvement from them. If either of them can find around about half a second, then they'll be knocking on the door of the top 10, and that's where we want to be. Where we expect them to be, really. Especially where we need to be if we're going to get points today then. So Leclerc goes over the line. Doesn't improve. Magnussen does improve. Magnussen finds around about half a second then. and lifts himself to 13th. So he's out-qualified pretty substantially his rookie teammate this time. But still, neither car really on the pace that we'd expect to be. And qualifying's been our strong suit this season. So I think we're going to have a bit of a fight on our hands if we want points out of this race. But 13th and 17th it is. Not much we can do about it now. So let's get on to the race and see if we can improve things from there. And see if we can go... with Leclerc starting so far back, we can probably go with a better sort of alternate strategy. We're going to go soft tyres and race trim. K-Mag will go push to the limit and race trim. And then with the setup then, I think we will take out a couple of laps of fuel from Leclerc. We'll leave it in with Magnussen because obviously he can push that engine and gearbox quite a bit more, which should mean that we can probably use up the extra fuel much quicker. And we'll go attack and overtake. Tyres, I've just remembered. Let's take a look then. So super soft 7 to 9, 11 to 13, 16 to 18. It's a long old race, this one. So it's gonna be many stops. It's not even worth calculating at this point. I think we'll go mediums with Leclerc, and I think we'll go with soft tyres for Magnussen because he's gonna have the most benefit on them, hopefully. And we'll just see how far they can go. Really, we'll have to try and work out the strategy during the race. Force India, look at that. Second and fourth, first and second row starts for the Pink Panthers. Pretty strong showing from them. And suggests that they've made good progress with that car. But a big mix of tyres, so we'll have to see how we get on here. Temperature's pretty high, so we have to look after the tyres, I'm sure, as we get underway then for round something. I can't even remember. Just know we've got 5 races to go. I don't know what round this is. But a fairly good start then. Magnussen gains 1 position. Leclerc's made a really good start, up to 13th place then. Magnussen now up to 11th. And we're immediately going to back off the fuel to medium. And we'll go back to neutral on the tyres. Get ready to use this boost now on both cars, so they don't get left behind. And we'll go back to medium and neutral on Kevin Magnussen as well, and just see how well these tyres hold their heat as to what we're going to have to do for the rest of the race. So Leclerc has actually passed the lot of them, and he's passed his teammate. He's now up to P10 on those medium tyres. And that's a cracking start for him. Got the 2 Renaults just behind us. The 2 McLarens are well down the order. So once again, if we can just get a couple of points and the Renaults and McLarens stay out, that's all we need to edge ahead of them. But it's looking good at the moment then. 10th and 11th. We've got Ocon and Gasly just ahead of us. Force India's not seem to have just had a great qualifying. They don't seem to have the race pace that their qualifying positions suggested. Right, we're overheating these soft tyres, and we're overheating the mediums a little bit, so we'll probably go conservative on both of them, because I think this is going to be a very tyre limited race, and if we can buy ourselves an extra pit stop, it's going to help us out, I think, this afternoon. Once again, I forgot to investigate moving the shadow player icon, so K-Mag has an unbeknown to me amount of fuel. I guess we can work it out for when they cross the line. So we have 39 laps remaining, and he's just crossed the line at about 38.9. So he's about on target. We can use a bit of fuel later on if we save it now then. So temperature's coming back under control for the mediums on Leclerc's car. Not really for Magnussen. What's everybody else doing? Everybody else is going pretty hard on them. So I wonder if we just back up a little bit and try and get a few extra laps out of these. He's already dropped to 15th before we'd even done that. So he's clearly struggling for pace out there. Leclerc, on the other hand, is defending well from Carlos Sainz Jr. And apart from this game, I don't think I've ever called Sainz Jr. I know he's Sainz Jr., but, you know, Sainz Senior was a rally driver. I'm not really going to get confused in the world of Formula 1, are we? So I think we'll just call him Sainz from now on. So tyres looking okay. I think we've just got to be patient in this race. We haven't got... I don't think we've really got the pace to run with those front guys. The top 9 at this point. If a few of them drop out, then we'll get up into the points a bit better. But it may be the case that Leclerc is just really racing for that 10th place. Or he's really good at defending and is holding up this entire pack, which I think is more likely. But I think I've made the decision. We're going to try and make these... He goes up to 8th as Verstappen and Gasly pit them very early into this race. I think I've made the decision in these series to... After the last few races, I've really failed to spot things happening. Let's go back up to neutral on those soft tyres. I've really failed to spot things because I've been on 4-speed. So if you guys are all okay with it, I think we're going to keep it on 2-speed from now on. And the episodes will just be a little bit longer. That's the only thing from that. Probably only make 5-10 minutes difference, maybe only 5. But it just means I don't make the stupid mistakes that I've made some of the previous races by not noticing things along the last couple of laps. Which means we can manage the race a little bit better. So Magnussen's got now almost half a lap of fuel. I think we'll keep saving it for now and use it later on when it really matters. We're getting towards a pit stop for Magnussen then, who's now P12, Leclerc P8. A few more cars have pitted there, Massa, Kvyat and Stroll. All 3 of them on different compounds of tyres, showing that strategy is going to be a bit of a hard one to read today. But Leclerc has done a fantastic job on those mediums. He's held off both Renaults for the whole of this stint, and he's looked after his tyres really well. So I think he can go a long way into this race, and this is really going to help out later on for the strategy. Magnussen, I think we're going to have to bring in this time around then. So we'll have 33 laps to go. And I think we'll stay on the soft tyres for now. He's run fairly well on them. I think we can be fairly aggressive with him because of the fuel load and the no red zone as well. So I think Leclerc, we're going to try and go long and do as fewer stops as possible. Magnussen's ekes a few more laps out of his tyres than his competition. But needs to start being a bit more aggressive now. He's going to come back out at the rear of the field. If we maybe use a little bit of that fuel at the beginning of this stint, and those that still haven't pitted, he might jump when they do finally come into the pits then. So tyre temperature's looking good for Leclerc. He's still got enough tyres for probably about another, maybe even up to 10 laps at the moment, the way he's looking after them. And even the guys that have just pitted, Ocon and Verstappen, are really struggling to find a way past this guy, further reinforcing that he might be something pretty special. We've got quite a lot of boost to use on both cars, so I think we'll use it this time around. And we'll use it on Magnussen as well to maybe try and get him past Ericsson, who's almost certainly holding him up, and it does just about makes the move around the outside of that long, well, we all know what it's shaped like, corner. And that gets him out of traffic then into 19th, and he can set about maybe trying to catch Sainz and Stroll ahead of him. As the 2 Renaults and the 2 Massas all covering around about a second of track. So if he can get himself onto the back of them, I think that's going to be the race for the final points paying positions. Elsewhere we've got both McLarens yet to stop, obviously going along on those mediums as well. It's just the 2 McLarens and Leclerc that have yet to stop them. And amazingly, I can't quite believe that Leclerc still hasn't been passed by Ocon and Verstappen. I mean, literally just as I say that, Ocon finally gets past, but he's got great pace considering the age of those medium tyres and the fact that the guys he's racing should be quite a lot slower, quite a lot quicker in terms of the pace of their car naturally. So I think Magnussen has now caught the back of that train. He has just about. We've not looked after the tyres though, because I've once again completely forgotten about them. I think we're going to go back to medium. Again, I just don't know how much fuel we've got because of this shadow play thing. Can someone leave me a comment when they do comment on this? Or leave in the comment as well, reminding me to try and move the shadow play marker. Because I always forget, and I always read the comments before I do each episode. So that would be a helpful reminder, so that would be appreciated if someone could do that. Because I know I'll forget as soon as I finish this. Right, Leclerc could probably do another couple of laps. And I really do feel like stretching this out as far as we can. Because he's the only one yet to stop. And this is a pretty impressive run at the moment from Leclerc. I've got half a feeling if we put the medium tyres on again, we may even be able to one-stop this. If not, we can put the super softs on for the final stint. Right, we'll bring him in this time around and we'll put the mediums on again, as he's had such great pace on them. And he can be on his way. Right, Magnussen's still overheating those soft tyres. We'll go back to conserve now. He's found his way past... I was going to say he's found his way past both Renaults and both Williams, but Massa is just ahead of him, and Stroll and the two Renaults have actually made their second stop already. Right, good stop from Leclerc. And he's actually going to come out ahead of Kevin Magnussen. That just shows how good his pace was on those medium tyres. Because he was actually behind Magnussen when Magnussen pitted. Actually no, I think he was just ahead. He's not lost any time at all. And he's having a belter of a race today. Charles Leclerc. Right, K-Mag. I think he's got quite a lot of fuel left on board, but I'm not sure. Right, his tyres are back under control. Let's go back up to conserve. I guess I should check next time around. So it should be 22 laps when he comes over the line next time. And he's got a lot of spare fuel. Right, let's go high mode and just leave it in that for the moment. I can see whether the marker is green or red, and I can see the last number, but that's all I can see, thanks to shadow play. Magnussen complaining about trying to get past Hulkenberg. We can probably do something about that now with our ERS, and past he goes. And he's probably only got one more lap after this, so we'll go back up to neutral because I'm not bothered about tyre temps. And we'll bring him in this time round. So we've got 21 laps to go. Now he can probably do that on the soft tyres. So I think he can just stay on the softs till the end, and he'll have 2 more stops to do. If he goes particularly long on this stint, then we may be able to go super softs for the final stint. But at the moment, we seem to be racing people pretty well, as is. And we're stopping a little bit earlier than people around us. A little bit later, sorry. Apart from Hulkenberg, who is still out. No, Hulkenberg's made 2 stops as well. Magnussen's already repassed him. Okay, race pace is looking good. There was a mistake on the tyres. Fritz, you fritzing idiot. 2.5 seconds lost from Magnussen then, as he returns to the back of the field. And he's got to get past Ericsson again then. That shouldn't be a problem. Right, Leclerc is in 10th. Medium tyres looking great. He's got Alonso just ahead of him. The one stopping Alonso as well. So that's the car we need to try and clear. He's got a bit of fuel. Temperatures are looking good. And I think we can go a bit more aggressive now. Because I don't think we can one-stop this. We're going to have to make one more stop. But we don't have to make these medium tyres last as long as we did. So let's see if those 2 options allow us to catch back up with Alonso, and then we'll use the boost if we need to get past. Talking of boost, Magnussen's already passed. No, he hasn't passed Ericsson. Ericsson's just ahead there with the 2 Renaults. That's actually a McLaren and a Renault. So so Magnussen needs to get a move on. We're going to go to conserve just to get a bit of extra life out of these softs. And try and use this boost to get past Ericsson. Oh, it didn't work. He needs to get past K-Mag. Get past Ericsson. Cannot afford to be stuck behind a Sauber right now. He might have to go to neutral, use a little bit of extra tyre life. Oh, he's been passed by Kvyat as well. Not good news. Right, let's go back to Leclerc. Right, he's got plenty of boost, but is 98, 100% going to be enough to get him past Alonso? I guess we got to try it, because we don't have... He doesn't seem to be catching him on his own. So we'll try it down the next straight then. Now, and see if it's enough. Oh, Alonso's just used his in defence. He had a bit more charge stored up though, but it's still not enough. It's put him right on the back of him though, and hopefully he can do some damage. He really is struggling to get past. Right, back to K-Mag. Right, he's past Sainz. He's still right back in this little scrap with everybody. Tyres are overheating, but we don't need them to go much longer. He's almost at the point that he can stop again at the moment. But he's struggling on pace. I don't know why I just used that boost there. It's kind of a reflex thing. He's now last. And he's got one more stop to make. Everybody around him has got one more stop to make. So maybe we try the undercut if we get the opportunity. I'm going to go to conserve because I reckon we're losing pace by overheating them. We've got a lot of fuel left, at least one lap I think. So we can use that in the final stint as well. Leclerc has gone through those tyres very quickly by overheating them so much. I mean, we may be a bit overzealous with that. But we'll give it another couple of laps and he can pit onto the soft tyres. Magnussen, with 11 laps to go, I think we need to try the undercut. I'm sure he can take the soft tyres a lot further if we don't abuse them like we have this time round. So we'll pit him again and hopefully he can undercut. Just don't know how much fuel. Right, I'm just going to pause it just to find out how much excess fuel he's got. Right, it's 1.07, so I think we can probably keep it on push till the end of the race. And we'll bring him in. Leclerc needs to come in this time around then. And we'll go to the soft tyres as well then. And we just need to manage them a bit better in the final stint on both cars. See, this is the thing, as soon as you think you can be a bit more aggressive, that's when you just destroy the tyres. We were doing so well, I think, because we were managing them so well. And as soon as we think we bought ourselves a bit of time, was ironically actually the time that we destroyed the tyres and had the worst stint of the race. So we'll try and keep them under control for the final stint. We've got a bit of fuel to use on both cars. Leclerc back out in 12th then. He's got 3 cars ahead of him that can probably go to the end on mediums. But he should have better pace. So can he close down first Massa and then Gasly in the final stint of the race? We'll find out. Magnussen, on the other hand, is in 18th. And looking out of it, really. He's got fuel to use. And he should have plenty of tyres to get to the end, but he needs to be ahead of these people to make hay on these soft tyres. You see, all these guys are going to be coming back through, apart from Verline. They're going to be much quicker than these guys that are on the medium tyres from 5th down to 11th. But you want to be at the head of the pack, which Magnussen is not. Leclerc is, though. So we'll see if that gap starts coming down. He's got 5 seconds ahead of him. And that gap is coming down then. Magnussen is losing time to Sainz. So, not going brilliantly at the moment. Right, a couple more pit stops then. Massa and Alonso are in. And Alonso's just ahead of Leclerc. How's that happened? I thought he was only about 5 or 6 seconds down the road. Very bizarre. Right. Well, Leclerc knows his target. I think Gasly will probably have to pit again as well. That's done now. So Leclerc is back into the points. But there is a McLaren ahead, currently scoring two World Championship points. We cannot allow that. He needs to chase down and pass Alonso if he can. Problem is, Alonso is so good in this game. I mean, he's a great driver in real life as well. But that McLaren car is awful. I don't know why I'm saying this, but everybody knows this. Alonso drags points out of that car when it really shouldn't get it. We all know this to be a fact. I think the main danger is actually going to come from Gasly behind on those super softs. So hopefully Leclerc can continue his great defending in this race and do something about it. Magnussen, on the other hand, again, I don't know how much fuel he's got left. We'll see when he passes. We've got 3 laps to go. But that was the leader, so Magnussen's actually got 4 laps to do. We can probably overtake for a couple of laps then. And we'll probably go up to neutral. And we'll probably go to neutral with Leclerc as well. Gearbox is a little bit of a worry. But we'll use overtake for a couple of laps with Magnussen. And then we'll go back to push once we've used some of that excess fuel. I also remember the other reason why I've made these races shorter. Because my voice just goes. It always reaches a point in every episode where it just disappears. Because I talk in this more than any other videos I do. I guess I enjoy qualifying, but commentating, but I clearly wouldn't be a good commentator. Because Formula 1 races are a lot longer than this. My voice just would not hold. Right. Let's push. We've only got a lap left to do. That's about a lap and a half for Leclerc, but it means he can probably use up some of the tyre life now. If we go back to high mode with Magnussen. Magnussen has caught the back of Sainz then, but it's not going to be enough for any points. But can Leclerc get past Alonso in the remaining lap and a half then? Let's go attack on the tyres. Use what little boost he's got left. Can he get close enough to pass the Spaniard? We would desperately need it for the championship. But Alonso's wily old fox he is has saved a little bit of charge over the line then. P10 is Leclerc's first World Championship points. And I'm pretty sure is the first World Championship points for a monoclass driver, which I think is what you guys told me to phonetically say it as. But I'm pretty sure that's the first points for a driver from Monaco anyway. Let's say it like that. So, big congratulations for him. A great race for him. His race was really made in that first stint of the race, taking those medium tyres 20 odd laps whilst still keeping pace quicker than his teammate who was on fresh soft tyres. So that was a great stint from him, and that's what made his race. A little bit disappointed we couldn't get past Alonso, but we know how good he is. And on a track that wasn't quite a power limited track, he maybe pulled off that strategy a little bit better, and his talent in the car was the difference between the pair of us. But still happy to get points. Renault did not score, so we will gain on them again. Kevin Magnussen's race, yeah, I think we did it in that middle stint when we went too hard on the soft tyres. I think that's where the mistakes came for his race. But at the end of the day, it's some points for Leclerc, and it's the team result that matters. And it means we go level with Renault. McLaren pull a little bit further ahead of us. Now a 5-point gap rather than a 4-point. I've got a feeling. I didn't think the gap was that big. Has he got like a fastest lap bonus or something? No, I didn't think we had those. He's got 2 points. 1 point more than us. So the gap must have been 4 points before. I thought it was a bit closer than that. I thought they were on 26. But anyway, it means that Williams and Toro Rosso, some good points for them again, means that that gap is probably too big now. But if we can get ahead of Renault and McLaren, that'll be a pretty great season for Haas, to be fair. So, good episode, a good result for Leclerc. First points for him, for the team. And Magnussen, we just maybe mismanaged a bit. But we will push on from here. Just 4 races to go. So, a few more good results and we can maybe secure that 7th place. That would be a pretty great result for Haas, to be fair, considering where we are and where our car is. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hit that like button if you did. Keep your help and advice coming down in the comments down below. Maybe start letting me know what you think we should be doing for next season, any changes we should be making. If you're new to the channel, you can hit that subscribe button as well. It'd mean the world. And as always, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again next time.